This year's presidential election stinks more than a dumpster full of loaded diapers on a hot July day. If ever there was a time in our lives to vote third party, it's now. You want to protest the situation in Gaza? Protest with your vote. What is it going to take to make people stop being so self-defeatingly fatalistic about voting for someone who isn't a Democrat or a Republican? The number of Americans who hold an unfavorable view of the Democratic Party is over 50%. Slightly more, 55%, hold an unfavorable view of the Republican Party. According to Pew Research Center, 26% of Americans hold an unfavorable view of both Trump and Biden. According to the same poll, only 37% have a favorable view of Trump, and only 34% have a favorable view of Biden. A vanishingly small 2% somehow have a favorable view of both. The most recent polling from October of 23 shows 63% of Americans say a third party is needed because the two major parties are doing such a terrible job. I bet if they asked that question now, the number would be even higher. What is it going to take for Americans to actually consider a third party candidate? Does actively hating the two shitty options given to us by the major parties not push you closer? What will it take before you finally consider this option? The rejoinder is always, third party candidates can't win. They only act as spoilers. Really? Are you sure? Have you tried? Because with these polling numbers, victory is not out of the question. In a three-way race, you only need 34% to win. You can win a state's electoral votes with as little as 34% of the vote. That is more than possible with these numbers. Because in a situation like this, with two hugely unpopular candidates, it seems like a good time to try something different. People hold on to old Grandpa Joe because he's supposedly the only salvation against another Trump administration. But even then, people are barely willing to support him. I know he doesn't inspire a whole bunch of confidence in me. I know I sure don't like Biden's accommodating views on genocide any more than the rest of TikTok. This year's presidential election stinks more than a dumpster full of loaded diapers on a hot July day. I know I'm ready to consider alternatives. When you look at these numbers, 37% favorable for Trump, 34% favorable for Biden. It's already a three-way race, and there isn't even a contender in the popular consciousness. And here we have Dr. Cornel West. He's been vocal in his support for Palestine going way back. He calls the attack on Gaza genocide. He walks the walk and talks the talk. In fact, he talks a lot like Bernie Sanders, a person he's been friends with for years. He gets the class war. He knows that working Americans are on the receiving end. He has real ideas on how he would address that. If you're a person who cares about Palestine, you probably weren't going to vote for Biden or Trump anyway. Are you looking for solutions? How about you go to the Cornel West 2024 site and sign up to help get him on your state's ballot in November? Then, you and every person who you can get to sign petitions make a commitment to vote for him instead of Trump or Biden in November. It's not complicated. That is a protest with some teeth. And when people start to see some grassroots momentum building for a genuine alternative, things could really start happening. We can make our own contender with the power of our support. You think Biden and Trump can't be beaten? Don't make me laugh. Both of these options suck. Both of these options perpetuate the status quo. I admire your passion. I'm glad you're participating in boycotts and marches, voting with your money. Those are all worthy actions. But we can use our votes to protest too. I say we protest in a meaningful way, one that scares the powerful. While you're at it, don't vote for anyone who takes money from AIPAC, a lobbying organization devoted to bribing our representatives to put the interests of another country, Israel, before our own. We should have candidates in every district who vow to put America first and stop the genocide. Cornel West is a fine, inspiring choice for a protest vote. Voting against AIPAC is a great protest. These protests could have a real impact and send a huge message to the American public and the world about what is possible. Stop having a negative, defeatist attitude toward third parties. Embrace your voting power. Use it. Make it mean something. Let's make them pay.